I don't even recognize myself anymore. That's what a 67-year-old woman told me after her husband passed. Her hands, once busy with caring and giving, now trembled with doubt. Aging doesn't just change our bodies, it tests our identity. But here's what we forget. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you can rebuild at any age. In this video, let's rediscover that quiet strength inside you. Learn 5 gentle ways to rebuild your confidence after 60. Leave a comment if you've ever looked in the mirror and asked, "Where did the old me go?" You're not alone, and this community is here for you. Tap subscribe for weekly encouragement and practical tools to grow stronger, softer, and more sure of yourself after 60. It's tempting to chase the version of yourself from the past, the younger, faster, stronger you. The version who could multitask, remember everything, climb stairs with no trouble, or light up a room without even trying. But confidence doesn't come from chasing the past. It starts by saying to yourself, "This is who I am now. That is enough." Look in the mirror. Really look. You might see age spots, softer skin, slower movement, but also a face that's lived, that's loved, that's endured. Confidence begins with this moment, standing with your whole story and saying, "I'm still proud of me." You don't need to compare yourself to younger people. You don't need to apologize for your age or your changes. You simply need to honor the version of you that got here through everything. Think about this. If a friend came to you saying, "I feel old, I feel useless," would you criticize them more? Would you comfort them? Then why not offer yourself the same kindness? Confidence isn't pretending you're the same as before. It's saying, "I may have changed, but I still have value. I may move slower, but I walk with wisdom. I may not be who I was, but I am still worthy." Accepting your present self is not a sign of giving up. It's a declaration of peace. And peace, my friend, is where confidence begins to grow again. Imagine spending your entire day next to someone who constantly says, "You're too slow. You've lost your purpose. You don't matter anymore." Most of us wouldn't tolerate that from a stranger. But many of us accept that voice inside our own heads every single day. The truth is, confidence doesn't just come from what the world says about you. It comes from what you say about yourself. In that voice, it can either tear you down or lift you up. Instead of "I'm too old for this," try "I've never been wiser or more free to choose." Instead of "I'm no longer useful," try "I carry a lifetime of experience that others can learn from." Instead of "My best years are behind me," try "I still have time and I still have things to give." Words matter, even when they're silent. Because the way you speak to yourself becomes the way you walk, breathe, and show up in the world. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to pretend everything's perfect. You just need to say to yourself, "I am still here, and I am enough." Confidence begins in whispers, repeated, loving whispers. Say them daily. Say them sincerely. And over time, your inner voice will become your greatest friend. Now that you've begun to change the conversation in your mind, let's look at the proof. Everything you've already survived, and why that's your hidden source of confidence. Confidence doesn't always come from what lies ahead. Sometimes it comes from looking back and realizing what you've already endured. At this age, you've lived through seasons of loss, transition, illness, doubt, uncertainty, and yet here you are, still breathing, still waking up, still learning to hope. That alone makes you powerful. Think about this. What heartbreaks have you healed from? What storms did you once think you'd never survive, but did? What parts of yourself refused to give up when everything felt broken? Most people forget how strong they are because they're too busy surviving to stop and reflect. But you've raised families, buried loved ones, started over. You've held back tears and kept going. You've walked into rooms where you felt out of place and stayed anyway. That's not weakness. That's not luck. That's resilience. And resilience is the quiet backbone of confidence. Try this. Write down 5 things you've overcome, big or small. Read that list every morning for a week. Let it remind you that your strength isn't gone. It's just waiting to be remembered. Now that you remember your strength, it's time to step gently into growth again. Because confidence also comes from doing new things, even when they scare you. You may not realize it, but the people around you, they play a huge role in how you feel about yourself. When you're constantly surrounded by voices that talk down to you, ignore your thoughts, see your age as weakness, you start to internalize that message if it's untrue. But when you're around people who listen, when you speak, ask for your opinions, celebrate your experience, invite you to contribute, begin to feel seen again, validated, real. One kind word from the right person can undo years of self-doubt. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not drain you. And if you don't have them right now, you can begin to create them. Join small, intentional communities, book clubs, volunteer teams, art circles. Find people with shared passions, not just shared ages. Say yes to invitations. If you're nervous, say no to people who belittle or dismiss you. And sometimes, the person who needs to see your worth first is you. Once you see it clearly, gently, firmly, others will begin to reflect it back to you. You don't need a crowd. You just need a few voices that remind you you matter. You still have something beautiful to offer. And we're glad you're here. Rebuilding confidence after 60 isn't about changing everything overnight. It's about remembering who you are, day by day. Speaking kindly to yourself, trying, failing, growing, connecting. Most of all, it's about refusing to disappear and choosing to show up fully for this chapter of your life. If this video spoke to your heart, leave a comment below and share one thing. What part of yourself are you learning to accept again? You never know who will feel less alone just by reading your words. Tap like if this reminded you that you're still becoming. Please subscribe for more weekly videos that speak gently but honestly to your journey after 60. Remember, confidence doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the brave. You, my friend, are braver than you think.